A very good afternoon to all the members. On behalf of CII, we extend a very warm welcome to all the participants. Today we're having a webinar on business opportunities in South Africa with Ms. Ramagopa, Consul General of South Africa in Mumbai. Ms. Ramagopa is the Consul General of South Africa in Mumbai. She holds a national qualification in Municipal Finance Management from Wits University Business School and a certificate in Commercial Administration from Sawane in the University of Technology. Marpan has participated in a number of community development initiatives that dealt more with women emancipation and youth development activism. She established a concept document that founded the Young Women's Desk of African National Congress Women's League, and she was its first national leader. President Zuma appointed her as a Consul General of South Africa in Mumbai, and she assumed her responsibility in February 2016. There is no presentation. We are going to have a talk, and Ms. Ramagopa is going to be speaking on the various opportunities for business and trade in South Africa. May I, on behalf of participants, extend a warm welcome to Ms. Ramagopa and invite her to take over the session.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity, and let me take this opportunity again to just give my heartfelt and humble apology for arriving late. This is a very important engagement for us as South Africa, and most especially as a consulate dealing with economic diplomacy. I'm so excited about this opportunity precisely because it allows us to reach a number of people in different regions that are under CII, and I do believe that the little bit that we can be able to share with the colleagues today will definitely help us to start something new. We will also be available after this dialogue that we are having to allow colleagues and more business people to actually engage with our trade unit so that they can get more information if ever a need arises. If I may start, as we all know that South Africa just got its freedom in 1994, and at that particular time, the DGP was 482 million rands, which was like about 60 US million, and now it has gone to about 312 million US dollars. We have positioned ourselves as South Africa to be the manufacturing center of excellence. We are looking at diversified industrial sectors. We also have an open economy. We have sound business case for investment and profit. We are also a gateway to African markets of more than 200 million consumers. Africa is the next big story after China and India. I think almost everybody can agree with that. At the current moment, we are exporting a total of 41 billion rands from India, and we are also now importing a total of 53 billion rands of products from India. However, we are looking at increasing that given the fact that we are now in the BRICS economy. Therefore, we've got a lot of opportunity of ensuring that we do grow what we have already had. At the current moment, our strategic context of what we would like to achieve, we are looking at an inclusive growth and development, and also decent jobs and equity. We also are guided by our National Development Plan and our National Growth Path, promoting a globally competitive economy that produces and trades with the rest of the world in innovative and value-added products and services. We are looking at creating 5 million jobs by 2020. This is where we are looking at investors, whether they are foreign direct investment or not. We are looking at people who would like to partner with us to make sure that we do reach this particular agenda that we have. We're also looking at diversifying our economy, because in the past our economy was more based on exporting raw materials, in particular, your minerals, diamond, gold, and so forth and so on. But now we're looking at attracting people to come and beneficiate those particular minerals that we already have in South Africa. We're also looking at improving our physical industrial infrastructure, and we're also looking at regionally spreading industrial development. This is the reason that at the current moment we have invested in a few regional zonal economic areas that would then now allow a lot of incentives to be given to people who participate in that. We also have a new entity that has been developed by our Department of Trade and Investment, which is Invest in South Africa. This is looking at ensuring that investment opportunities, framework, and all the other things that I've already spoken about, the plans that we have, does find expression in whatever it is that we do. We're also looking at identifying sectors with competitive or potential advantage and economic sustainability. We're looking at the manufacturing, in particular the automotive, the agro-processing, capital equipment and transport. We're also looking at advanced manufacturing, in particular pharmaceuticals, biotechnology and aerospace. And I think India has been doing so well, especially in entering the market in the pharmaceutical area. In particular the generic pharmaceutical products. We're also looking at expanding our mining and mineral beneficiation, as I already said. We're also looking at oil and gas and infrastructure. We're also looking at ensuring that we grow our green economy. I think the whole world is now moving into that, given all the international protocols that are put in place. We're looking, as a result, we're looking at renewable energy, waste management, and nuclear components. And I think India can play a very big role in terms of what we need in infrastructure of renewable energy. We're also looking at attracting partners in ocean economy. And I also think that India has been leading thus far, because most of the time, most of our ministers coming from South Africa leading in the industry of ocean economy, they've been coming to India to learn and to look at opportunities that our government can actually enter into in terms of shipbuilding, ports and infrastructure, as well as tourism, of course. Our priority sectors for foreign direct investment are in the following: advanced manufacturing, I've already said, metals, mining and beneficiation, biofuels, agribusiness, automotives and components, capital equipment and rail, precision engineering, aerospace, film production, tourism, oil and gas, boat building. I've already spoken about that. ICT and electronics, and I think at the current moment, in terms of ICT, a lot of Indian businesses, both with conglomerates and small and medium enterprises, are participating in this particular field. ICT, usually here people like to call it just IT, but we include the communication part of it. We're also looking at business processing and outsourcing and call centers. India is also still leading in that particular environment. We are looking at chemicals, plastics and composites, biopharmaceuticals, leather and footwear, which again, India would be an area where we look at precisely because the raw material and the infrastructure is already here, and I think you are doing very well. We're also looking at forestry products and furniture. As a matter of fact, when I was in South Africa, and I think 2 weeks ago, we have already spoken to our trade unit. It's good that we're here today to try and find people that would be interested in buying from South Africa, of course, importing from South Africa, or going to South Africa to utilize the raw materials that we have in forestry, and probably partner with government agencies that would actually allow them to just enter into the market and produce whatever it is that they want to produce, whether they want to import it or they want to export it or they want to do whatever it is that products can come out of that. We're also having that. So we will give more information if there's anybody who's having interest. We're also looking at energy and renewables, which I've already spoken about, infrastructure development, waste management, energy efficiency, and cleaner technology. I'm not sure if the colleagues would be interested in the mineral beneficiation, but I know that India is the capital hub of diamond polishing and cutting. We do have the material in South Africa, and we are trying to look at the ways in which we can be able to assist colleagues to enter into the market and utilize what we already have. At the same time, we know that there are companies from India that are operating in the SADC, which is the region that we fall in, that includes South Africa, Angola, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Namibia, who have already invested in the iron ore and steel manufacturing. We also have those opportunities, and we have put that aside to say people who would like to come, they must come in and partner with ourselves. We also have tax or incentive schemes that we have put in place in the manufacturing investment, most especially in the automotive incentive schemes, people carrier automotive investment schemes as well. We also have incentives in competitiveness investment, manufacturing competitive enhancement program. We have something in that range. We also have export marketing investment assistance and also capital project feasibility program. We also have services investment, in particular the film and television production and business processing services. We are also giving broadening participation, which would be the Black Business Supply Development Program, Cooperative Incentive Scheme, and Incubator Support Program. We also have the infrastructure investment, and we have put that scheme under the Critical Infrastructure Program. As I've already said, that we have put in place special economic zones. They are already in operation in three biggest cities in our country, in Durban, in Johannesburg, as well as in Free State, which would be around the Bloemfontein area. We are saying that we are committed to support and facilitate the designation, regulation, and development of special economic zones in South Africa. This has been put in place in order to make sure that we cut the long red tape as well as the bureaucratic processes that are always there when people want to come invest. So through our one-stop center and this special economic zone, when you come in and you show interest in participating in the designated areas, you would have one place where everything just gets processed, which I think would save time, and it would also attract more people to come without the conditions of being frustrated by many bureaucratic processes. We are also saying that we'll put systems in place to support the investment, and we'll also make sure that we introduce, and some of those incentives are already there, to make sure that we support the businesses that are coming, and also streamlining the approval processes and the infrastructure that is needed in order to operate in South Africa. Of course, we are looking at ensuring that we create new employment opportunities, because as much as we want to be an area of opportunity for businesses to invest in, we also have the responsibility to look after our own nation. We are also saying that we want to improve local socio-economic conditions. We also want to increase beneficiation and localized value chain. As I've already said, and this is the reason that I'm here, to attract FDIs, LDIs, and technology-based companies, to which I think India is doing very well, and I'll keep on saying that. With this little ways that I already have alluded to, let me take this opportunity to just thank you for giving me a chance to come and speak. Yes, I'm available for more information, and the speaking notes that I've been speaking from, I can give it to you to share with colleagues. Thank you so much.
We have a few questions. They've already started coming in.
Okay.
So, are you comfortable?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So please share the registration form for MCC for the dossiers submitted. Please share the process for getting faster registration from MCC for the dossiers submitted since more than 5 years and no queries from MCC.
Okay. I wouldn't be able to get the information right now. However,
but you could revert back.
She can. I will give you. You are free to share my numbers at work and also my email address.
Super.
So some of the specific
queries can be answered.
Can be answered directly, because we can then now find out information directly from the institution.
So this is what is the import tariff imposed by South Africa on engineering goods, typically parts of electrical, power machinery and railway locomotives. This has been asked by Mr. Vipin
Okay.
from Madhya Pradesh.
As I've already said, let me just look at the specific answer to that, because I think I needed to it in my presentation in terms of what we are offering in South Africa. I may not be able to give you direct information, but as I've already said, it is important to send this so that I can give you direct information that is needed. There is obviously an import tariff on everything. I mean, it happens all over in everywhere else. I don't think I do have the answer to that.
Or is there any preferential tariff for goods of Indian origin? That is also
definitely, yes, there is, because we are in the BRICS institution or arrangement. Therefore, we will definitely have preferences on ensuring that at least we lower some of these tariffs from Indian companies. However, as I've already said, that is just been it is put in a, what do you call, memorandum of understanding that we have signed. Therefore, as I said, people must just send that information. We'll be able to give them direct information.
Okay. Mr. Malik, I'll also share the Consul General's email address and contact details with you, so that we can also pass on this question to her directly, and with the help of her trade office, we can get the exact tariff amount, because I believe he's looking at what is the tariff imposed for the engineering goods machinery part. So I believe that your trade office could...
Yes. And I've already spoken there that those are some of the things that we want to concentrate on.
Yes. So I think that could help. Then we have a question from Mr. Gaurav Pandey. What are the legal trade barriers in South Africa for third party to enter? Okay.
Looking at the
Mr. Pandey, if you could just elaborate on the question.
Maybe give me an example of what
a third party. Yeah. Mr. Pandey, if you could just elaborate your question with an example, it would be easier for the CG to respond on it. Now there's a question from Aditi Rathi. How can we approach the African government to start the business?
African or South African government in particular?
Aditi, are you looking at a South African business country in particular? Because when you say African, it would be like it's a continent. The CG could respond to you if it's South Africa. She could explain to you on a South Africa term.
As I've already, I think I've alluded to the point that we already have a one-stop center.
Yes.
From Department of Trade and Industry. Here at the consulate, we do have someone who is stationed from Department of Trade and Industry to help you directly with what you
could guide you for.
Yes.
The Department of Trade and Industry at the consulate could guide them of how to enter.
So maybe what we need to do, if there are many people who, because it will be based on the industry that you're operating on. It's not a blank approach. So if there are many people, we could organize that. We could have not necessarily a seminar, but a one-on-one with many people from same industry, so that we can have our qualified person from or officer from DTI to actually come and respond directly to how do you start.
Okay. There's a question from Mansi Shah. Is there any opportunity to export freeze-dried fruits in South Africa? Frozen dry fruit.
Yes, no, definitely. I do believe, because we are also doing well in the area of agriculture. Yes, there is. We will just have to give you the details of where to get that. In the area of Western Cape and the Northern Cape, we do have.
Okay, there is opportunity for that. So Mansi, I believe your question is also answered. I will connect you to the CG's office and maybe they could guide you further on it. There's a question from Gaurav Pandey. South Africa trade terms with other African countries, especially SADC, and how easy for third party to leverage it?
Oh, okay, because I've already said that in the SADC area, we do have an arrangement that we have, and I think, let me just get it here. We have policies that we have put in place that are supposed to give you direct information in that. But when you do do business in that region of SADC, there are a lot of incentives that you get, and the tariffs that you're speaking about, most of the time I think they are not so high as opposed to if you're doing with North, because most of African countries in the SADC region actually use South Africa as an entry point. Therefore, as a result of that, the tariffs and so forth will have to be low so that we can be utilized as the entry point to SADC.
I hope that helps you, Gaurav.
I just have it here.
You have something else to share with him?
Or is in the other presentation? I'll give you the presentation though, so that.
We'll also share a presentation that the CG's office will share with us later, so that would help you further. Anis Qureshi is asking, can you share any website through which we can know the opportunities of investment in South Africa?
Our website, definitely. You can get information, but also from the DTI. But at the same time, you'll have to be industry specific, because we've got different departments as well. So if you could be able to
the sector specific. So
yes. So you can check maybe also www.investsa.gov.za.
Anis, you could check the website on www.investsa.gov.za. Gov.za. That would help you.
Yes, as I was already trying to check. We do have obviously the global export platform market access arrangement in the SADC community.
Okay.
So definitely there is something that is already in place, but of course it is in detail if we give you that price. But there is something already that is in place.
That was Mr. Gaurav Pandey's question. Yes. So we can share the detailed information.
Yes, we will give you that particular document for you to go through and find out exactly what you would like to know.
Precious Masse has asked, what is the outlook of South Africa on joint venture or development on food and beverages of Indian-made goods?
Okay. On food and beverage,
a joint venture.
Joint ventures, I think they are always welcome because they always have a starting and ending period. So if you've got a specific product that we believe that it would actually be better for us to get from India as opposed to producing in South Africa, and we would definitely be able to import that.
There's a question from Sanjay Gupta. He's from Mahendra, South Africa Centurion. You mentioned about energy efficiency initiatives. What about duty rebates on electric vehicles, which satisfies energy efficiency focus?
Well, we don't have at the moment particularly a specific policy on the electric motors. As far as I know, we're still building on that. Therefore, if you have a suggestion maybe of the product that you already have, because we are looking at the manufacturing, we're looking at growing the automotive manufacturing sector. Therefore, if you are going to manufacture in South Africa, we'll be able to give you more information on what you need in particular.
And Sanjay, your suggestions are most welcome as informed by the CG. So if you have some inputs on it, we will again, bilaterally connect you to the CG's office and she will further guide you on it. We have a question from Joman Thampi. What is the import duty on construction chemical products imported from India to South Africa?
once again, I won't be able to give you the
exactly,
direct, but we would be able to give you that if you send us that on an email.
Yes. We'll bilaterally connect you to the CG's office, and maybe the trade officer and someone who's particularly looking into this sector and product will guide you further.
Because the presentation that I have is more on macroeconomics as opposed to microeconomics, which would be on industry-specific areas.
Okay. Here Sanjay Gupta has written again that let us know if there are any possibilities of Sanjoy at Mahindra.co. He's actually in the South Africa and handling the Mahindra work from there. I will also connect you bilaterally.
We can have a meeting, definitely.
Aditi has already left, but she had earlier asked a question and we've already told her that we'll share the presentation and connect you. Gaurav Pandey is writing, what are the steps taken by government to assist agro sector in terms of infrastructure, resources and third-party contract farming?
Okay. As FRO said, our prioritized sector in terms of FDIs does include the agro-processing, of course. But in terms of third party, I do believe that you will have to come again to our office so that we can be able to do, because it's not a direct. Our approach and what we want to push is foreign direct investment.
Nishtha Malavia is asking, is there certain minimum investment required to start a service company? And what are the legal entities that can be formed there for the service sector? Please elaborate more on the service industry and its requirement. Here, more than manufacturing, he wants to know about the service sector and the service industry. Mayank Vadodria is asking, can I have any information about major sector in engineering process products like pump and casting procurement? I believe I'll again have to connect Mayank with you bilaterally and is it on pumping? Can you have a specific?
Obviously, we don't, as I said, we would not have at the moment directly the information about, if you ask me about pumps, then I would know about pumps. Because it's specific industry related.
But I'll connect you.
And some of these opportunities, obviously, it would be that we would be able to create a platform for business to business discussions so that colleagues can be able to speak about exactly what they do, the products that they are doing. Then we will be able to know. Because we, as I said, the government deals with macroeconomics. We don't deal with industry specific, whereby I would know we would have something on parts or engineering products. But we would say, in terms of services, this is what we're doing. In terms of, as I already said, in terms of infrastructure investment, this is what we're doing. In terms of manufacturing investment, these are the rules. But we won't have on each and every product.
So that would happen only once they come with a proper project, or
then we can. What we would do, we would give them information on the incentives or whatever it is that they need to know in terms of the specific sector that they are operating on. However, on specific products, it will have to be business to business that actually speak about that. In terms of services, what was I asked?
Just elaborate more on the service industries and its. Is there a certain minimum investment required to start a service company?
No, absolutely not. As long as you would fall under a specific, as I've already said, a specific sector, you can be able to enter. But that obviously will have to be based on many other things that come with investment in South Africa, which won't necessarily be sector-based, but it will be blanket approach. But as I've already said, you have to have a business-to-business contract of some sort on top of what we are giving. However, at the moment, we are looking at the film and television production, as I've already said, and business processing services. That's what we are concentrating on. Not that nothing else will be allowed. No, you can be able to come in. And
this is your major. This is what you're looking at.
This is what we have identified as what we would like to push and give more incentives in.
Vimal Purohit is asking how South African government would facilitate potential market in various fields, and are there any database available for industry or an entrepreneur looking at ICT solution from South Africa?
ICT solution from
South Africa. Yes.
ICT solution from South Africa that we have are usually in the banking sector.
Banking. Okay.
Yes, in the banking sector. Otherwise, we do get from you.
Okay, it's India that provides the service.
The database, it can be given to you again from our trade and industry unit, which we have here at the consulate.
Tukkari, they are the manufacturers of machine tool and automotive industry. Can you connect us with auto OEMs, Tier 1, Tier 2 manufacturers or automotive associations in South Africa?
Yes.
Could you help us with the connect?
Definitely. Once again, send me an email and I'll give you GTI to give you the businesses that are operating the database.
Sure, Rohit. The connect would be shared with you, and I'll also share CG's office email address with you so you could take this dialogue further. Vimal is asking, what are the benefits offered by the African government for setting up business in South Africa?
African meaning South African government, I guess.
Yes, South Africa, SA is
okay. I've already spoken, I'm not sure if you were listening, I've already spoken about the incentives.
Yes.
But again, we do also have a certain percentage where we would be able to give you like work permits and so forth and so on, and permanent residence to others if ever we think that is a long term. Okay. So those are some of the benefits. However, there are few incentives depending on exactly where you would like.
What are you looking at? Which sector?
Yes, there's a lot of development banks and financiers that are there. There are also, if we do believe what you are bringing is in particular the manufacturing. In terms of assistance, we can give you assistance in infrastructure development as well, where you'll be operating. So it will depend on your business plan and the value that South Africa would get. However, those are some of the incentives that we have in order to try and attract businesses. Also, we would give you there's exemptions in terms of electricity and many other things.
Okay. Power and all could be.
Yes.
All right. So it depends on the business. What are you looking at doing there? Of course, there are incentives, but depending on what scale and what is your business and what is the sector. That would be more specific.
Yes.
All right. We have a question from Nilesh Fatnani. Is there any opportunity to export namkeen or farsan, the dry snacks and all that we have, the Indian dry snacks here? It's known as namkeen and farsan. There's opportunity to export that to South Africa.
South African population at the moment, it's about 55 million people. It might not be a lot, but to us it's a lot. Almost 3 million of the population of South Africa of Indian origin.
Yes.
Therefore, the market would be then based on that. However, on the other agro-processed or fruits and the, what did you call them, the namkeen, it would depend on the palate, of course, that South Africa have. But one thing that I know is that the people of Indian origin do come and shop here, in fact, shops, and they sell that side. Yes.
So yes, there would be, of course.
You can also come and open a manufacturing sector that side if it is doable, because it will also depend on the climate. But yes.
Yes, Nilesh, that's a good suggestion. If you're looking at exporting, or rather, right now you ask for exporting, but if you're looking at manufacturing these farsan, depending on the climatic conditions there, that is also most welcome.
But if you want to also export, it's still okay. We'll try to check for you and give you the information. But there is an area where I do believe there will be a huge market for it.
Good. Again, there's a question from Vimal. Does it require any local partnership, or can a foreigner start its own business in South Africa?
Well, there's different ways of doing business there. But you would get more benefits if you do get a local partner. Okay. And it would also depend if what you want to start in South Africa is not already there. Okay. If it's something that we don't have, as I said, the foreign direct investment are allowed in South Africa. And I think I've already given you a list, unless if I was speaking a little bit fast. But we do have that, including tourism, we do have that, film production. you can come and start your own business in South Africa. Energy efficiency, as we saw in technology, we already have that. Infrastructure development, pharmaceuticals, and so forth and so on. So we do have opportunities where you can come and open your own business directly in South Africa. We're not a protectionist. Yes, no. We're an open economy.
Samir Choksi is asking, is there any opportunity in the field of environmental services?
Such as what?
Samir, could you clarify what would you mean by environmental services? Because what exactly would fall in for you into environmental services? You could please type down your question. We'll come to it. Mayank Vadodria is again asking engineering product. Okay, he had previously asked a question,
yes,
and then we had asked on what exactly is he talking about. So it was engineering product or process exports. Is it possible in South Africa?
Yes, no, definitely. Especially, it will depend whether it's in the mining area or whatever infrastructure area.
Yes.
There is, we definitely are looking for that as well.
Yes, Mayank, there is scope for it.
The good part it will be for them to send us exactly what they are looking for, so that we can give them exactly what would be needed for them to enter into the space.
Mayank, we would separately connect you over mail to the CG's office so that you could, elaborate and specifically say that what exactly are you looking for. Accordingly, her office would get back to you and help you on the same.
Yes.
We have a question from Mr. Malik here. As CG mentioned, critical infrastructure is a high priority area for their government. We are aware that modern locomotive manufacturing facility has been set up in South Africa by a leading multinational, and a huge contract spanning supplies of locomotives for almost 10 years has been awarded to this company. However, since the contract specifies a large made in South Africa content, this multinational is facing difficulty in fulfilling the manufacturing obligations. It has been replaced that the local industry does not have the requisite technology to make critical parts for the locomotives within the multinational, which is the multinational seeking to manufacture in South Africa. Since Indian industry is well matured in this field and has the requisite technology, how do Indian manufacturers get in touch with a desirous South African industrialist desirous of setting up a joint venture in South Africa with Indian technology, which has acceptance of international railway industry and is proven to be a lower cost than the West? What is the procedure to enter in the business with South Africa, as we are manufacturers of freeze dry foods, and we want to, okay, that is the next question, sorry. This was on the locomotive part was from...
As I've already said, the priority areas include automotives and its components. However, contractual or legal contracts, it's not something that you can just get out of.
Yes.
However, there could be discussions with Transnet, which is responsible for exactly this thing that you was talking about, locomotives and what have you. So the best way would be again to give us information, not long, brief profile of what exactly is it that you do, what components do you offer, yes, so that we could then now be able to directly link you with Transnet, because that would be a government procurement, yes, which will follow a number of processes. However, we'll be able to guide you in terms of what is it that you need to have in order to enter into that particular setup. If that's how I understand, I'm not sure if you're saying to replace the contract of 10 years that's already there, or just to be a supplier
to it, yes, for the products.
Yes.
So that, it could match the standards, the Western standards, and could be a low cost.
And as I've already said, those are priority sectors. Components is there.
Okay.
Yes, automated components.
Mr. Malik, I believe that in my understanding, your question has been answered. But if there's something further that you want to elaborate and ask on, you could put the question in here. Mansi Shah is asking, what is the procedure to enter business with South Africa, as we are manufacturers of freeze dry fruits and we want to export our product in South Africa? Hence, kindly advise.
Yes, that's what I said, that I do believe that there would be markets, most especially because the palate is different.
Yes.
However, there is a section of the community in South Africa, that would definitely have an interest
requirement for the free
so you would want to enter this particular industry or go and export those products of yours to South Africa using the basic processes that are needed, which won't be too much. As I've already said, we have a one-stop center where you can just go and everything else will be given to you. So the best thing for you is that you should go on the website that I've already given.
Yes.
And then, yeah.
I will definitely share the website with all the members who participated today. Simultaneously, this presentation also I would share with all of them. And whoever have these personal questions, I'll try and connect them with you so
yes,
you could help them further. We have a question again from Mr. Malik that requests information about important engineering trade fairs in South Africa. So if you have some calendar or something.
Okay.
Mr. Malik will get that shared with you.
Yes. Okay, you send me.
Yes, I will. Opportunities to export the fire and safety equipment in South Africa. If yes, any particular process for the same?
That's not something that we have been looking at. I think the market there is already saturated. However, if you've got something special that we don't have, you need to tell us what product do you have. Maybe if we find out that indeed we need it, yes, but at the moment it's not something that we are looking at. Okay. But there's always opportunities because new things do come into the market that we don't know about.
Okay.
But it's then upon
if there's a new or a different product into it, then of course. Otherwise, for the standard,
for this time, it's not something that we are.
That's not one of the priorities.
Yes. However, as I said, it doesn't mean it's closed. Many people come with new things, and we only find out later that indeed we can actually start prioritizing that particular service or product into our economy.
Okay. There's a question from Nilesh Patnani. Mr. Harshvardhan is asking, what is the scope packaging material in South Africa? Mr. Tejas Parikh has asked, is there any business opportunity for overhead cranes and container handling port cranes made in India through local manufacturing partners in South Africa?
Yes, definitely. As I already said, on the macro level, yes, we do have an opportunity in the port development.
Okay.
Anything that has to do with port development, we are looking for it. Yes.
Mr. Rajendra Ruya is asking, is there a policy for horticulture with greenhouse? Something on horticulture?
Definitely, because we definitely would have that. I would get information if you do send us.
Nishtha Malavia is asking, business processing, oh yes, outsourcing call centers that she had earlier. Yes, definitely. In fact,
yes, I've already alluded to that. That is part of the FDIs that we are looking at. And I did say that indeed India, I think, is leading currently, so we are looking for that. It's part of what we have put as priority sectors for our foreign direct investment.
Mr. Gaurav Pandey is asking that you spoke about South Africa being the entry point. Can you shed some more light on trading relations between South Africa and Malawi?
Malawi still fall under SADC. As I've already said, there is an arrangement that we have that is called the SADC FTA. So in terms of market access arrangement and the global export platform, yes, we do have that particular arrangement. And I've already said that because most of the what do you call countries in the SADC are landlocked, they depend on South Africa, and because we do have the infrastructure to actually get their products to their side, so we definitely do have that.
Mr. Samir Choksi has asked, is there any opportunity in the field of environmental services? Yes, because environmental services, yes, but anything specific? What exactly do you mean by the opportunity in environmental services? Anything specific, you'll have to please put it down. And Mr. Rajendra Ruya has asked, any subsidy, but into what? Specifically what?
All the areas that I said are our priority areas. Definitely there would be one or a few subsidies that you would get, of course based on exactly what. Yes. But our priority sectors of FDIs do have some sort of subsidy.
Would be there, depending on the sector, of course.
Yes.
Ms. Precious Masi has asked, we would be glad to start up a business in terms of joint venture or trading with South African importers related to food concentrate in forms of powder. We would appreciate if CG's office could connect us with the Trade Department of South Africa. Surely we would, of course, connect you.
Yes, definitely. This one I think would give it directly to the Department of Agriculture. We do have an office in Delhi as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Mansi is asking, what is the procedure to enter the business with South Africa, as we are manufacturers of freeze-dried fruits and we want to export products? I believe this has been answered earlier.
Yes, I said that do send us exactly what is it that you'd like to export to our country. Then we will be able to advise you. As I've already said, my presentation and what I brought here is more on the macroeconomic level, not the micro. However, we do have an office here in India from the Department of Agriculture that will be able to advise you if your product is likely to be able to enter the market and make profit or not. However, as I've already said, there is a large community of people of Indian origin in South Africa, and I have seen that they utilize most of their products from India. Yes.
Mr. Mayank Vadodara is asking how to stay away from fraud companies in South Africa in case we become frauded. I mean, if they're cheated on something by a company that they're trying to tie up with, will the government help them? South African government, would they help them in some way?
Look, obviously, the arrangement was done outside our own initiative, it would be difficult to enter because that would be based on the legal requirements or agreement that they have entered into. However, I can promise you that the South African court or judiciary is definitely strong, and they will be able to approach if that particular company is indeed a South African company. Because sometimes people can just come and say they're a South African company when they are not. So at least you'll be able to get assistance and recourse from the court system or the judicial system if indeed the company in question would be a South African company, because then to be able to access whatever it is that we need in order to help you to get a recourse.
Mansi Shah, who had earlier asked you for the food thing, she's asking, can you recommend any company's name with whom they can do the business and export the products?
Well, there is a company in, as I've already said, that is already operating. It's big. I don't know if they would want to export, but I know they are the ones that are big in South Africa in terms of the dried fruits, and I think that's what she's asking about.
Yes.
I think it is called South African Sandra. Okay, I'll just get the information properly, but there is a company that is there. However, as I said, the best thing may be to look at retail.
Okay.
Yes, and check if they cannot be able to enter into the market, because companies that are already operating they have their products already. So yes. However, as I already said, the database is there. We'll be able to go. It's SAB. It's SAB.
SAB.
Yes. Okay. Yes. However, as I said, the trading industry will be able to give them the database, because you need the database. But there are a lot of them that are there. Yes. I think there was a conference here in April. I don't know if you were there. Yes.
Food. Yes.
Yes. So most companies that deals with this were here from South Africa.
Okay.
Yes. So I don't know if you participated in that, because it would have been a very good opportunity. However, we do have a department, as I've already said, specifically working with agriculture and agro-processing. So we can connect you there and just send them your profile or your question in brief, maybe 1 page or 2 page. We'll be able to send it to Delhi and bring you information.
Mr. Tejas Parikh is asking if through a local partner, please advise few names for heavy manufacturing companies based in South Africa.
Heavy, what does that mean? Heavy what?
I think he's left the thing, but I think, immense machinery. But however, we could connect and
it would depend
share.
What
What
exactly
exactly
talking about. Yes.
Samir Choksi is asking on water and wastewater treatment pollution. Okay, earlier we had asked, environmental services. So here this is replied: water and wastewater treatment pollution control services on environment.
Okay. The issue of pollution is not that big in South Africa, so I think we're doing well in terms of that. However, on water treatment, I do believe there's always an opportunity to enter into the water treatment and so forth. However, I've been told that in fact Indian companies are actually going to South Africa to look for a product for
water treatment.
Yes. So that they can give services to BMC and so forth and so on. So I don't know if there's something new. If there is, yes, give it to us. Then we will treat it.
If there's something new, unique, different,
yes, it should be very unique. As I said, already India is utilizing South Africa for this.
Okay. So I hope your question is answered, Samir. Nishta is asking, please lead me to a contact who would look into BPO and call centers. We just discussed it, right? So who can they connect with?
We'll give you the data. Okay. But most of the time it's in the retail sector.
Okay.
In particular the ICT. Yeah, whether your ICT includes your telecommunication and yes. But definitely this is I think you will definitely make it because that's our priority
sector. So
you'll probably get more people.
That's good. Mr. Malik is thanked us here, and Samir Choks is asking, is there opportunity in the field of environmental wastewater that we've answered already? Okay.
But yes, just send whatever it is that you have.
Okay.
Yes.
If it's a different technology altogether, which is currently not there in South Africa.
Definitely.
There definitely
yes. We could be able to take you to one of the municipalities or the water board, one of the water boards in South Africa.
So we will bilaterally connect you, and then he could send the technology what it is like. Shweta Joshi is asking, earlier she had asked on the fire safety products. We are the manufacturers of fire and safety equipments and pre-engineered systems, fire extinguishers. We want to export them.
As I said, in that we don't have anything
saturated.
Yeah, we I don't think
whether the market in that is saturated unless it's something very unique and something very, very advanced and different. Otherwise, the market is full for now. Mr. Rajendra Riya is asking, is there a policy for horticulture with greenhouse? I believe this.
As I said, in each and every sector, depending on the scale and what you are bringing that is not there, there would definitely be a subsidy for one or a few, what do you call? For green, few subsidies that are needed. As we have already said, we are looking at entering into your green energy. Your greenhouses would definitely be welcome. And we are also, there's something that I wanted to, the forestry and products as well, we do have that. So greenhouse would be falling under that, I do believe. I can't be very sure, but I think it's in agriculture. It has to do with that.
Yes.
Yeah. However, we're doing well in that, but you never know. If you bring something that we don't have, definitely.
Then it would be.
Yes.
We have a question from Mr. Saqib Khan that we're looking for details to export custom medals, the bullion coin, home decoratives and furniture, and looking to import raw material like gold, silver and copper. So they want to export all of these, but for that the raw material they want to procure from South Africa. Yes.
Okay, do send us information. We'll take you to where.
We will bilaterally connect you to CG's office. You could share across the information in detail, and then they will get back to you.
However, I must say, most of the priority that we give to people who want to manufacture in South Africa.
Okay.
We are moving it on to that. Yes, that's where you get priority.
Sakib, the priority is given to manufacturing in South Africa rather than procuring raw material from there. You procure the raw material, manufacture there,
we call it beneficiation. Mining beneficiation. However, do send us.
Yes,
we may
it's not that there's no other opportunity.
Yes,
you could procure the raw material from there and then export the product, but the priority area is manufacturing in South Africa. Mr. Nilesh Patnani is asking, how is the South Africa government aiding in manufacturing agro-based products or even importing snacks from India? I believe that is
yes.
It's been answered earlier that of course if it's specific food, like for a certain kind of people, there would be a market.
In terms of subsidy, definitely I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay. No, he was asking on subsidy on the greenhouse.
Oh, okay, all right.
Mr. Rajendra,
as I said, that's not something that we have prioritized as one of our priority areas. However, if you give us a presentation of what you are doing, if it's something that we definitely need, we will definitely be able to tell you what subsidies are there. As I've already said, most of the subsidies are in the manufacturing sector. If you manufacture in South Africa, you may get sector-based subsidy and general subsidy that manufacturing companies do get.
Saqib Khan is asking if we're looking at details to export. Okay, you just asked and we've answered that. I think you have typed the question again. Details in export.
We don't have copper.
Okay.
For example, it will only be gold.
Okay.
Silver and copper, no.
Saqib, the raw material will only be gold, not silver and copper. Gaurav Pandey is asking, how do people of African continent are reacting to foreign players coming on board for business opportunities? Do the locals have any inhibitions to it?
No. The government is actually pushing for joint ventures.
Okay.
It's not only for us, but also for yourselves if you partner with the local. Because even in India, when you want to come invest, you have to partner with the local partner. They know the environment better. They also help you to cover the risk, many risks that are associated with whatever it is that you will be entering into. But also, when you've got a local partner, you have more opportunity of actually getting financing from development banks and other banks in South Africa.
Great. I believe most of the questions we have one more question from Mayank Vadodria. Is the government of South Africa involved in any major sector of engineering application, like defense manufacturing or any other kind of manufacturing? For government of South Africa is directly procuring engineering goods from India. Okay, so the government run projects where the raw material for engineering is procured from India.
From India.
Any such projects?
No. We actually have a government agency called the NEL that actually wants to come to India to actually sell. I understand you're talking about the raw materials, but you'll have to be specific. However, we do produce everything that we do back at home. However, if you do have a raw material that you think can actually be utilized in whatever machinery or equipment in the defense sector, you should tell us what it is. However, at the moment, no, we manufacture and we utilize everything from South Africa.
Okay.
Yes.
So I believe that
in terms of what we manufacture, there are defense equipment that we don't manufacture, that we procure from outside. However, those that we manufacture, we definitely create everything for ourselves. However, as I said, there's no, in business, what I've learned, there's never no, we can do it. You have to tell us what you have, because sometimes the market does not necessarily know that they need what you are offering. Once you tell them about your products, that's when people think, oh, okay, we may need that. So it becomes important to not just ask and say, do you allow this? You can just say, this is what I have, this is what it do, what incentives do I get, what are the opportunities, and how do I actually start entering into that particular sector and do business in South Africa.
In detail, yes.
You have to tell us, don't just...
yes, which exactly, what product exactly is it? Saqib Khan is asking, it would be great if you could share a list of retailers of home decorative and furniture for export. There would be many, Saqib.
Yeah, there would be many. But as I already said, I did say that, okay, it's not retail, this one. In terms of, there are too many for me to be able to give you a list, but we can request it from DTI.
Okay.
But as I've already said, what I can talk about in terms of furniture is that South Africa has a state-owned agency that deals with forestry, and it's based on furniture and so forth and so on. We are looking at partnerships for manufacturing furniture and whatever products that would come out of the products that we have in terms of forestry. So we are looking at partners that would be looking at getting the raw material from South Africa to come and produce their own, or going to South Africa to actually partner with that government agency. I mean, to partner with government agencies means you are protected. I mean, it can never go down. You have access to almost everything. The tax and everything else will be almost close to zero. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying zero though,
but less, so, very minimal.
Yes. In that regard, the only thing that I can talk about is that you need to, the opportunity lies in the manufacturing in South Africa, but in terms of exporting, I am not so sure if you would be able to make it. But as I already said, we can share the information with you in terms of the data that is there. Who knows? There may be what you call companies and retail shops that would like to
want to partner.
Yes.
Okay. So I think that is very elaborately answered, and Saqib's questions could, I mean, it's quite, I mean, if you're looking at manufacturing with the government as a partner, it would be a very good thing. And if you're looking at just exporting, whatever few names or what could be shared, that the CG's office will let you know.
Because what we're looking for is the skill and the technology. So to also enter into the retail market, not only in South Africa, but also in SADC and many other countries.
Yes,
and then it will work because you'll be doing business. You would be partner. Your partner would be South African government, not a business on its own that has to find its own way in terms of how they survive.
I hope your queries answered, Saqib. And this was the last question for today's webinar. What we shall now do is, of course, share the presentation on Invest in South Africa with all the participating members today, preferably by end of the day. Your questions and queries have been noted by us, and the Department of Trade and Investment would also, this information would be shared with them as well. And simultaneously, we would share the email address of the CG's office with you, so that, you know, if you have any other question, then they could be taken on bilaterally. Okay, Saqib is interested in partnering with South Africa government on that.
That would be lovely. He should send me an email as soon as possible.
Saqib will share the email address with you. You could share across your information, a little brief biodata on what your company does, and plus the CG's office will revert back to you on how you could partner, and they'll guide you further.
The good part is that South African companies asked me to actually look for business this side who want to come and partner with them, so they are ready.
Okay, Mr. Malik has written that this was quite an information session, and he's conveyed thanks.
Okay, thank you so much.